البوسنة والهرسك تأسيس قبل ما يتم تأسيس البنك البوسنة الدولي وتأسيس شركة عقارية، وقبل ذلك خلال الأشهر الماضية حتى كلا الجهتين حصلت على تقدير كبير جدا. البنك الكيبياني حصل على أفضل براند في البوسنة من جهة دولية وتبقى عامل يتكلم لاحقا عن الموضوع هذا. شركة البوسنة العقارية أيضا قيمت بأفضل شركة ضمن 100 شركة في البوسنة. هذا قولنا يعني شركة كل المستثمرين من خارج البوسنة وسافرت في البوسنة، ولكن الحمد لله تتطلب اختيار الإدارة الجيدة. كانت الشركة من إنشاء أفضل مركز عقاري في مدة أقل من المتوقع وأيضا بتكلفة أقل من المتوقع. فحقيقة يعني كان في مقدمة رؤية شركة. أيضا بعد الفترة الماضية أيضا كانت كتب عدة مبادرات وكان بنك البوسنة بدور في إطلاق بعضها يكون منها قضية جعل سراييبو كمركز عالمي للتعليم كالأخ أيضا عم يتكلم عن ذلك، وأيضا هذا وضعت في البوسنة في الصورة. فإن شاء الله الشركة الجديدة ستنضم لهذه القائمة من الاستثمارات الناجحة كلها دور كبير في استقطاب الاستثمارات والتركيز على المناخ الاستثماري الجيد في البوسنة. هي حبيت أن أقول كذا نمضي بالبرزنتيشن. بدينا عبد الرئيس الشاب المالي استعرض الشركة والتصور لها، ثم لدينا عرضين من المستشار القانوني والمستشار الضرائبي، وبعدين نمضي فيما يتعلق نستمع نقاشكم ونتأمل في هذا اللقاء يعني تأكيد للالتزامات اللي قدمت حتى نمضي في إنشاء الشركة إن شاء الله. شكرا.
But following that, the country has now really been
holders of the limited liability company in Bosnia and Herzegovina. You are likewise in many other countries liable for the liabilities of the company only up to the amount of your shareholding. There are certain exceptions to this rule, but those are really exceptions and mainly related to the cases where the certain shareholder misuse the rights that are vested to the shareholder by the force of the law. Limited liability companies in Bosnia are quite easy to establish, despite the fact that incorporation lasted earlier for you that invested in Bosnia earlier for several months. Now this process has been streamlined, and it takes up to 5 days to register a company once the papers are filed with the court register. The company can start to operate at the moment when it actually is registered in the court register, and that's sort of a tradition which came from the continental Europe, unlike
in comparison with the majority of European markets, as well as with many Central and East European markets. And it is an opportunity for early investors in successful businesses to realize the substantial gains that might be expected upon eventual accession to the European Union. Bosnia is truly at a crossroads, not only geographically but culturally. It is a country in Europe which has a greater reach into many different markets and sources of finance than most of its neighbours. Again, I think following on a point that's already been made. Also to mention, although Bosnia is a small and fragmented market of about 4 million people with a recently troubled past, it also forms part of a larger ex-Yugoslav market of some 23 million people, which has now stabilized since its breakup nearly 20 years ago and which continues to strengthen. Bosnia is also part of the wider Southeast European market. The country is in need of continued restructuring. As a result, there are opportunities for infrastructure projects. There are still key assets and industries to be privatized, and there are opportunities to strengthen and invest in the private sector. Bosnia lacks skills. Although I would say there is a shortage of skills in certain areas, Bosnia has a strong tradition of entrepreneurialism. It has a long tradition of sending guest workers, particularly to Germany, and as a result you can see that the level of productivity in many companies in Bosnia and Herzegovina is comparatively good compared with other Southeast European countries, and the cost of labour is modest. Bosnia is a country which is rich in natural resources, from mineral resources to water. Given the current stage of the cycle in commodity prices, this again represents an opportunity to invest in the development of these resources profitably, as well as associated heavy industry operations, for example, coal mining, steel manufacturing. And indeed, some foreign investors have already capitalized on this. Needless to say, Bosnia, although not an Islamic state, is one of the few countries in Europe with a traditionally established Muslim community, which forms the majority in the Federation of Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is one of the two main constituent entities of the state. It has been, I would say, politically stable since the Dayton Accords established the state in 1995. The currency has remained pegged to the euro. The banking system is stable. The trends in the macroeconomic indicators are positive. The main drawback that has been experienced by investors is the high level of administrative bureaucracy, particularly in the Federation, which is attributable to the complex political system and the many levels of local government, which tends to slow down decision making. Some key tax incentives. Corporate profit tax, the rate is currently 10%, which is comparatively low. Withholding taxes on dividend distributions is 5%. This is obviously subject to double taxation treaties. You'll find a list of double taxation treaties in this publication. There is a tax holiday for exporters, so any company which can show that it has exported 30% or more of its revenue is exempt from paying taxes on the profits for that year. Tax breaks for investment